Playoffs are here. Jim
They are
Ruppert,
here.
Todd Engle. Football. We're here to talk football, Central State A Conference football, playoff football. First, give us your headliner from Week 9.
My football headliner?
Your football headliner.
Okay. I'll go with Malik Harrison and Alex Kramer from Springfield High. Malik had 3 runs for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns, including 2 big ones. Alex Kramer, 9 for 136 and 2 touchdowns. Terrell Bolden was human for 1 game. And
so other guys were there to pick it up?
In a big 34-21 win. They did 2 things, ultimately. 1, got Springfield their first home playoff game since 1996. And 2, helped Jacksonville by giving them the 1 playoff point they needed to get them into the playoffs.
And that was against Bloomington Central Catholic, the non-conference game last week.
Right.
Let's start with Springfield High in the playoffs. A home game, first time since 1996. Mm-hmm. Champaign Centennial is the host. Is the guest. There's the Big 12 is out there. Glenwood gets a Big 12 team. Springfield High gets a Big 12 team. Mm-hmm. I think that was a pretty good conference this year. Centennial 6-3 in the conference.
Between Danville, who's been number one team in 6A, Bloomington, huge downstate power.
Normal community,
normal West, normal community. Centennial, really, the bottom end of the conference, not so much, but those top end teams spent the season beating up on each other, and it'll be a good test for them.
What do you know about Centennial? What will people see?
They seem to be a little bit of a balanced team. Not as big as numbers as Springfield High has put up, but I think their schedule's a little bit tougher too. They've played some tougher teams. Really balanced team, and and they've been involved, I think, in 5 games that have been decided by 6 points or less. So when they play, odds are good that you're going to see a barn burner one way or the other.
Centennial. From the Big 12. Bloomington from the Big 12 also comes to the Springfield area and plays against Glenwood. Bloomington, you always think of good football when you think of Bloomington.
Yeah.
Rigo Smalzer has been there forever, and Bloomington and Glenwood have played 2 other times in the playoffs, and Bloomington's won both of them.
They have. Bloomington 6-3. I think two of those losses by a combined 4 points early in the first 2 games of the season. Tyler Dickin wasn't available for a athletic code violation, but he's been back, and he's kind of...
That's a great Bloomington name, Dickin. Billy Dickin, and there's been a million of those.
And he sort of struggled a little bit with his accuracy, but they're coming on. They have a running back by the name of Justin Brooks, who has about 1,200 yards rushing, and is their primary ball carrier. And Bloomington, honestly, probably the preeminent south of I-80, the best maybe public school program around. 24 straight playoff appearances, at least in big school football. 24 straight appearances, and last year they lost the first round playoff game for the first time since at least 2000.
Forever, yeah.
I think so. Really strong playoff tradition. It's been a tough challenge for Glenwood.
The other host that we know of on Friday night is Freeburg, comes to play against Rochester.
The Mighty Midgets.
And to me, that's
not
shooting fish in a barrel. I think Rochester. This is step 1 for Rochester to make a long run. Although the playoff gods weren't good with Geneseo and Metamora. Some of the kingpins of that were 5A, some good teams in 5A have dropped down into 4A. So Rochester, the path may not be lined in gold, but I think they're in pretty good shape in the playoffs. So
this one, the thing to remember about Freeburg is they did beat undefeated Mount Zion last year, but that was even their coach admitted a completely different team. They did win their last 4 games to overcome a 1-4 start and qualify, but their last game was a 7-3 victory over a winless Frankfurt team. They've only averaged about 16 points a game, which is second or third worst, and their point differential is negative 5.4, which is the worst in 4A. So, all things considered, Derek Leonard's, I'm sure he's telling his kids to take their game seriously, and they will. But if this isn't a running clock affair, I'll be shocked.
I was going to say, take the game seriously, at least for the half that you play.
Exactly. It'll be shocking if it's not a running clock game.
And the only matchup between 2 Central State A teams will be Saturday, and that is Jacksonville and SHG at Memorial Stadium. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff. You're going to have an interesting story in the State Journal Register about the last time these 2 teams played in the playoffs. A lot of people from both schools remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. 2004, Eric Peterman led SHG team, which had just steamrolled everybody coming into that game. Got upset by Jacksonville and their quarterback Brian Anderson, 21-14. And I was still in Decatur at the time. I had to go back and figure out where I was. I was actually watching New Berlin and Argento Oriana play. But talked with both Eric and Brian this week as they're going about their lives now, and they had some, depending on their point of view. I mean, they both didn't mind going back and reliving a little bit, but fun to talk to both of those guys, and hopefully it'll make for an interesting read.
And the last time that these guys played on October 9th, Jacksonville and SHG, that was a running clock. That was about a 63-point first half for SHG.
And the most high-scoring first 4 minutes of a game I've ever seen. There were 8 minutes left, and it was 14-14. At that point, I was wondering if I was going to be there until about midnight that night. Jacksonville got the defensive performance they really needed last week. I mean, they gotten really, really just trampled in their previous two games,
yeah.
And they came out strong against Taylorville. They held them to 0 yards rushing in the first half, and it's a game I think they're going to win either way, but to at least give the defense something to build on going in.
And that's all they talked about all week is give defense, and they got to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
obviously SHG and Taylorville, two completely different tests, but sometimes confidence can make a little bit of a difference in what you're trying to do.
We're guaranteed one more team to make it to the second round.
At least
SHG, at least one. We're guaranteed one. So come back next week and we'll talk about the second round of the playoffs, and we'll relive the first round.
And more football.